All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are cracking the code on a system of influence so powerful, so effective, it made its creator, Jordan Belfort, an absolute legend. And then, infamous. This is a system that turned regular folks into millionaires, but it also had a really dark side that led to one of the most spectacular downfalls in modern history. So, let's get into it. And I mean, listen to the man himself. Back in the late 80s, Jordan Belfort wasn't just saying he found a new sales tactic. No, he claimed he had literally cracked the code for human persuasion. He called it the straight line system, and the promise was huge. It would change everything for anyone who learned it. And it did. For better and definitely for worse. So how in the world does this thing actually work? Here's our game plan. We're going to look at its controversial beginnings, unpack the core idea of the straight line, then we'll zero in on why the first 4 seconds are so critical, understand the goal of creating absolute certainty, and finally, we'll get into the inner game that makes it all possible. Okay, so picture this. It's 1988. You're at Stratton Oakmont, and Jordan Belfort is teaching this new system to, and I'm quoting him here, a decidedly average lot at best. Right? These were not Ivy League grads or Wall Street prodigies. But with the straight line system, none of that mattered. Belfort told them he could make them rich, and you know what? He delivered. Big time. But here's the thing. The system was almost too good. It worked so well and created so much money so fast that it led to what Belfort himself called wealth without restraint and power without responsibility. Things just spun completely out of control. The very same system that built this massive empire ended up burning it all to the ground, taking Belfort down with it. So what is the system really? Well, it all comes down to a single, incredibly powerful aha moment, a sudden realization that became the bedrock for this entire method of influence. And here it is. This is the big secret. Every sale is the same. That's it. Belfort realized that it doesn't matter if you're selling stocks or a car or even just an idea to a friend. The fundamental mechanics of what convinces a human being to say yes never, ever change. This was the master key. And this visual right here, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. The straight line represents the perfect, most efficient path from the moment you open your mouth to the moment you close the deal. Now, of course, people will try to pull you off the line, right? They'll have questions, objections, stories, but the whole point of the system is to have techniques that gently but firmly guide them right back onto that line, moving ever closer to a yes. So where does this journey on the straight line actually begin? It starts the very instant you make contact. Belfort says that in the first few seconds, our ancient caveman brain makes an incredibly fast decision. Is this person a friend or a foe? Should I trust them or should I run? Over the phone, you get 4 seconds. That is it. 4. And get this, if you're in person, it's even crazier. Scientists say it takes just a quarter of a second, a literal blink of an eye. We are just hardwired to make these snap judgments. And in the world of sales and influence, you almost never get a second chance to make that first impression. So what do you need to communicate in that tiny window of time? According to Belfort, it's 3 very specific things. First, you have to come across as sharp as a tack. Second, you need to be enthusiastic as hell. And third, you have to project that you are an absolute expert in your field. If you fail to establish even one of these, he says the sale is basically dead on arrival. And if you're still not totally convinced about how important this is, check this out. A study from Harvard found it takes 8 follow-up, positive interactions to undo the damage of just one bad first impression. And let's be honest, in sales or really in life, who gets 8 more chances? You don't. Those first 4 seconds are everything. Okay, so let's say you nailed those first 4 seconds. You've got their attention. Now what? Well, from this point forward, the entire goal of the straight line is to build one single thing in your prospect's mind, a feeling of absolute, unshakable certainty. Now, what do we mean by certainty? It's a state of being completely free from doubt. But here is the absolute key insight. This isn't about just rattling off facts and figures. You can't just logic someone into a sale. The straight line teaches that you have to create emotional certainty first, and only then do you back it up with logic. One without the other just falls flat. So how do you do it? Belfort breaks it down into what he calls the 3 10s. Just imagine a scale of certainty from 1 to 10. Your job is to get your prospect all the way to a 10 on 3 distinct things. Number 1, the product. They have to love it.
Number 2, you, the salesperson. They have to trust you and feel connected to you. And number 3, the company. They have to trust and respect the company you represent. If you can get them to a level 10 on all 3 of those, the sale becomes almost a foregone conclusion.
But here's the thing. You can know all the words, all the techniques, but if you can't deliver them with conviction, it's all useless. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole thing, the inner game. Let me ask you something. Think about your own life. You have skills, right? But are they always there for you when you need them? After a long, frustrating day where everything's gone wrong, can you just flip a switch and be at your best? Belfort's whole argument is that your emotional state is the gatekeeper to all of your abilities. Belfort uses this really simple metaphor of a valve. When you're in what he calls an empowered state, you're feeling confident, certain, clear-headed, that valve is wide open. You have full access to all your internal resources, your wit, your charm, everything. But the second you slip into a disempowered state, you feel fear, uncertainty, overwhelm, that valve slams shut. The skills are still in there, but you're completely cut off from them. And this is how seriously Belfort took this idea. He actually developed a technique he calls olfactory anchoring. Basically, he would link a very specific, powerful scent to his peak state of confidence. Then, right before a huge call, he'd take a quick sniff of that scent, and it would act like a trigger, instantly snapping his brain and body back into that empowered state. It's a little out there, I know, but it shows you just how crucial controlling your inner state is to the entire system. And that brings us right back to where we started. This system is undeniably incredibly powerful, but its history is a massive cautionary tale. Today, anyone who learns the straight line from Belfort has to first take this ethical pledge. It's a direct lesson learned from his own spectacular downfall. It's a recognition that with this kind of power, you have to have some responsibility. Because in the end, that's all the straight line system is. It's a tool. It's a technology for human influence. And just like any powerful tool, it can be used to build incredible things, or it can be used to cause massive destruction. So the only question that's really left is, how would you use it?